Hello again, everybody. It's Stevens the Skiing Weatherman with another installment of Weather Weenies, and we're going to play a little game today. I want you to try and guess where we are today. I'm going to give you a hint as you look at some of this beautiful scenery. This resort has the largest continuous vertical drop of any resort in the United States. You give up? Jackson Hole, Wyoming. What a mountain. You can eat up all of that vertical, by the way, more than 4,100 feet in one tram ride. And then when you get to the bottom, you can sing the old Jackson Browne hit from the 1970s, Doctor My Thighs. Boom, boom. We have an assistant today. This is Chip Carey, the Director of Marketing here at Jackson Hole. We've got such a big whiteboard up on top of the mountain today that I need an assistant to hold it up. But we've had a lot of exciting things happen in the weather over the course of the last week, particularly if you're in the West. And Chip, by the way, we're taping this on a Sunday, and it's not going to air till Thursday, so we're going to talk like in the future. All right, got that all straightened out. By the time you see this, the West will finally have had some meaningful snow. And why did that happen? Well, the jet stream changed its configuration. We talked about it last week. Most of the winter, we've had a ridge in the west and a trough in the east. During the course of this week, the jet stream across the continental United States basically flattened out. And that allowed a lot of jet energy to come in off the Pacific Ocean. And over the last several days, it's really been tagging the southern Sierra in California, the Sangre de Cristos in southern Colorado, and in northern New Mexico, northern Arizona, southern Utah. They've gotten the lion's share of the snow, but enough energy has come ashore on this basically west to east flow to bring lighter snows to the central and northern Rockies. And quite honestly, it's very welcome snow because they haven't had as much snow as normal in that part of the country this year. There's a lot of hard pack. If you know how to use an edge, you have no problem with the snow. There's been some powder in the woods, but the new snow is certainly going to spruce things up in the near future. And packed powder is making a comeback all the way from the northern Rockies and especially down into the southern Rockies and the southern Sierra. Now, this west to east flow being enhanced by the El Nino out in the central Pacific, it doesn't just have one storm. It basically has several impulses in it. And several days ago, last weekend, when I was looking at the satellite picture of the Pacific Ocean, you could see as many as 6 disturbances lined up from the California coast all the way back to the southwestern Pacific. And they've been marching across the ocean during the week, and each one has brought renewed rain and snow, first to the coastal ranges and then into the interior ranges. Southern California's had a ton of rain this week. And quite honestly, these storms that come in the southern branch of the jet stream tend to be a little warmer. And that means the snow levels are a little higher. So you have had some issues with some of these resorts with a mix of precipitation right at the base level. But up above, man, this has been bountiful snow this week. So the West has been getting healthier this week, and I'm glad to report that. Back in the East, we've had the old January thaw. And if I'm going to try and shift over here so I can reach it, this is a big whiteboard. I like this. The flow has been basically west to east this week in the eastern United States. The week started on Martin Luther King Day with a storm going up off the coast. It went southeast to Cape Cod, a very good track for bountiful snow in the Appalachians all the way up into Maine, from Virginia to Maine. But there wasn't enough cold air around for everybody to get all snow. There was a pretty good snowfall in the Catskills up into central New England. Northern New England was a little too far away from the storm to get a lot of snow. And in the southern Appalachians, it was just too warm, and there was some rain down in the mountains of Virginia and North Carolina. It ended as snow, and the rest of this week has been relatively quiet. We've had some light snow associated with an upper level trough that's been moving through. But now as we look ahead, we wonder whether or not the January thaw is going to have any staying power, and the answer is a definitive no, it is not. As we go through this weekend, and let me back up again, the middle of this week, and again, I'm speaking in future tense and looking backwards. This is the stuff of the disrupted time continuum here. A storm came out of this southern branch and went across the coast somewhere in the vicinity of New Jersey and Maryland. And remember, it wasn't cold enough for all snow the first time, but the beginning of this week, a little bubble of high pressure came down across the Great Lakes into the Northeast, made it just enough, cold enough for some light to moderate snow, and that has fallen in New York State and in New England, and that'll be waiting for you this weekend. This weekend looks like a very pleasant time to be on the slopes in the east with some fresh snow here in the Northeast. Looking further down the road, the week of the 22nd, for example, the jet stream flow is still going to be busy out here in the west, so they can look for snow to continue. but it's going to take a dip in the east as we start to reform the trough in the east. And by the time we get to the end of this month, we'll have the trough in the east, the ridge will be back in the west. This trough is going to act as a receptacle for cold air that's now building in Canada to return to the eastern half of the United States. We're going to see a renewal of some lake effect snow, lots of mountain snow showers all the way down the Appalachian chain. And whenever you have a trough that's got cold air with it, you have the possibility of cranking something up on the coast. So as we head into February, I think the eastern ski resorts are going to be under the gun for some substantial snowfall. So by the time you see this, the beginning of the end of the January thaw will be underway. And isn't it funny how you get a couple of snowfalls in the middle of a thaw? You know, you think of a thaw as nothing but bad news for skiers, but we had snow in New England last Sunday and Monday. We had another batch late this week, and there will be more to come as it starts to turn progressively colder in the eastern part of the United States. By the time we get to the second week in February, most of the nation is going to be colder than normal as this amazing winter continues. My voice is just about shot, so I'm going to let you go now. But remember, you can see the Skiing Weatherman videos this week at snowcountry.com, and they were shot here at Jackson Hole, and the footage is just spectacular. And in closing, I want to share something with you that took place yesterday with my cameraman David Hewitt and myself. We got a wildlife tour away from the ski area here in the Jackson Hole region, and in the span of about 15 miles, we saw elk, bison, moose, bighorn sheep, antelope, and 3 wolves, all within about 50 yards of our car. So if you ever want to really see nature in its purest form, because this part of Wyoming is the only place in the country that has retained the predator-prey relationships since the white man actually got to this part of the country. It's really amazing. The animals still live the same way, basically, that they did a couple of hundred years ago. And you can take a wildlife tour like that at Jackson Hole. And if you like wildlife like I do, this is an experience you do not want to miss. All right, enough. That's it. Next week we'll be at Wisp in Maryland, of all places. We're going from Wyoming to Maryland. What a daily double that is. All you weather weenies, have a great week. I'm going to go get some throat lozenges. Take care.